Sure, you're a defensive back, a football player, and you love it, and you'd love to do it 24/7. But today, I'm going to give you 3 other sports that you need to think about playing if you want to become an elite defensive back. DB tip clips. I'm Chad Wilson, owner of All Eyes DB Camp and author of 101 DB Tips. I'm here to talk to you today about things you might need to do in the offseason that maybe you haven't considered. And this is especially for you young guys, you guys nearing the end of your high school career. I don't know necessarily if this is, for you, or maybe we'll talk about it a little bit, but it's about being a multi-sport athlete, and that's what most of the guys you see in the NFL, that's what they were when they were in high school. So we're going to talk about what those sports are that can really help you as a defensive back coming up. But before I do that, as always, guys, you got to check out 101 DB Tips. If you've not made that purchase yet and you've been on this channel, what are you doing? This is 101 of the best DB tips you're ever going to get. Stuff on covering man, covering zone, playing safety, playing corner, playing nickel back, how to train in the off season, how to watch film. Just about everything you can think about as a defensive back is covered right here in this book. Over 20 years of experience has gone into putting this book together. And listen, if you're thinking about the cost, worrying about the cost, I'm here to tell you, if you came and trained with me as a defensive back, and you wanted to do a group session, it would cost you over the course of the season several $100s. Let's just be honest about it. If you were talking about doing one-on-one sessions, even more than that. A lot of, basically all that I talk about when you're in those sessions with me is in this book, and you're getting it at a significantly lower price than it would to come and train. Now, of course, it's better to be in person, but can't train everyone, can't come to everyone's location. And that's the major reason why I wrote this book. So you're getting this at a fraction of what it would cost you to actually train with me in person. So it's definitely something you need to have in your library. But on to the topic at hand today, and that's what you're doing in the offseason. 3 great sports that can make you an elite defensive back. All right, so you love football, and again, I'm glad you do, but history shows that some of the best defensive backs that have played and are playing the game were pretty damn good at other sports, sometimes multiple other sports when they were in high school. Here are 3 sports that I think can tremendously help you as a defensive back. Number 1, did you guess what number 1 was going to be? This should come as no surprise. It's track and field. Speed is one of the quality factors that you're going to need as a football player, especially as a defensive back. And I'm on record as saying it, that speed is not everything at DB, but life sure is easier if you have an abundance of speed. Nothing enhances your speed more than just running track. I get people that ask me all the time how I can improve my speed. Run track. Sure, you can take your young guy out to a trainer, but the competitive nature of track is what really gets the speed developed. A trainer's not really going to be able to duplicate the competition element that track provides. There's just something about wanting to beat the other 7 competitors on the track in your given event. Each week, it's going to bring out the best in the athlete, and that's where all of the improvement in speed comes from. Outside of the physical elements that track develops, the mental aspect is also a very overlooked part as well. The individual pressure of track can do wonders for developing you mentally and all of your mental toughness that you're going to need out on that football field. When you're on that track, unless it's in a relay, there is no relying on teammates. Your success and or failure is all on you. Developing that mental part of the athlete is tremendous when they're now inserted into the team aspect of football. Number 2, basketball. Just as track develops speed, few things develop your overall athleticism like basketball. Quick burst, constant jumping and agility needed to guard players on the court feeds the elements that are crucial when playing defensive back. Again, you could go to a trainer and develop these things in the off season, but being in that competitive atmosphere is what maximizes all of these things. The jumping, the agility, and all that. Wanting to win a game where there's a point total kept is what's going to bring out the best in you as an athlete. Although basketball is a team sport, there are quite a few one-on-one aspects to the game that can develop your mentality as a defensive back. Oftentimes in basketball, you have to go one-on-one with a player on the opposing team, whether that's playing offense or defense. Going through those situations in another sport like basketball gives you something to call upon when you're lining up in front of a wide receiver in practice or on game day. You either learn from the failures or you draw strength from the success you had on the basketball court when you now take your talents to the secondary on the gridiron. This final one, maybe you guys didn't think about it. It's really something for guys who are younger. You have to start at an early age in this sport to be successful at it. It's really not one that you can pick up in high school and have any amount of success in it. It can happen, but the chances are slim. And that sport is baseball. Perhaps you weren't thinking about this one, but it is true. Baseball is a very challenging sport that develops a lot of critical elements you can use when you're playing defensive end. For starters, failing at the plate as a batter over 60% of the time teaches you how to handle failure and still perform. Also, hitting a baseball involves mastery of a lot of multiple details. Not wanting to strike out every time you come to the plate will teach you to pay attention to the details that can make you a success. Baseball also requires a great deal of amount of consistency, both in your training as well as your competition. Pitching a ball where you want or hitting a baseball requires hours of practice, the same movements over and over. Developing these habits do wonders for you when it's time to master the techniques of a defensive back. This is going to be the same things that you're going to be doing as a DB to get your technique down and be meticulous, if I can use that word, in your technique. So one other big plus from baseball is developing ball skills. Not only do you develop hand-eye coordination by trying to hit a baseball, but catching high fly balls will do wonders for your ability to track a football on the gridiron. Bet you didn't think about that. Hours of judging balls off of a bat and tracking them down in the outfield will make locating a football thrown by a quarterback all the more simple when the time comes. Some of the guys with the best ball skills that I've trained were former baseball players. Honorable mention goes to the game of soccer. When I was coaching youth football, I had the most success with soccer players when they finally decided to play football. Two biggest reasons were A, they were in shape, because you got to be in shape to play soccer, and B, they had great footwork. The constant drills involving controlling a soccer ball around cones and players develops footwork that is on point when you can bring it to the gridiron. Soccer is also a sport that involves constantly moving to excel in. The players typically have to be in top condition to do well. I'm a big advocate of defensive backs playing multiple sports. And here you can see these are some of the major reasons why. Playing other sports develops skills that transfer to football. They transfer onto the gridiron. But they also construct a mentality that is needed to handle the pressure of playing in the secondary. You know, it's not just about the physical part in the secondary. It's a lot of mental stuff going on back there too that you need to be able to handle. I know in this era we love individual attention that comes with working with a trainer, and you know that has its place. But competition brings out the best in all of us. The best place to find that competition still remains in team sports. So if you're a young guy, middle school, elementary school, don't be in a hurry to give up all these other sports that you're playing because you just want to focus on football. If you are not playing these sports and you're young, you might want to start dabbling in a couple of these other ones. The idea is to develop your athleticism as much as possible. Then once you get to high school, if you find that football is definitely your ticket, then you could start doing a little more focus. But if you go look it up, your top defensive backs that were out there were multi-sport athletes in high school, and the time has not come for us to change that. All right, so this is definitely some advice that I hope you guys take to heart. Perhaps there's some sports in here that I didn't think about. More and more I see guys playing lacrosse. Are there other sports in there that maybe didn't make it to this list that we should consider? But if you're a multi-sport athlete, go ahead and hit me in the comment section and let me know the other sports that you play. All right. Hey, that's it for me, but on your way out, guys, check out the link down in the description for 101 DB tips. This is definitely something you need to have in your library if you are a player, coach, or a trainer of defensive backs. It just doesn't get any better than this. Also, check out the All Eyes DB Camp members area. I've got a big announcement that's coming up there in terms of the All Eyes DB Camp members area. I'm very excited about what's coming up there, so I'm looking forward to making that announcement. But just know that the All Eyes DB Camp area has over 200 videos with everything that you need. Coverages explained, technique breakdowns, drills, workouts, and more. So a combination of that and 101 DB tips book going to take your game to the next level. There's no way you can't improve by doing that. All right. So check out those links down in the description below. Give this video a like and share it as well. Finally, if you have not had a chance to subscribe to the channel yet, please go ahead and do that and hit the bell so you are notified the next time I put out a great video like this one. All right, like I said, my time is up. I'm out. Until next time, All Eyes DB Camp. Consistency breeds results.